episode 144 of Mastering Local Marketing. He's Matt Hansen, digital marketing guru and professor. I'm Jim Delow, small business owner of radio and streaming video. Small business marketing usually does not fail because of one bad idea. It fails when the message gets blurry, the strategy gets scattered, and the business starts chasing motion instead of momentum. In this episode, we look at the hidden marketing mistakes that quietly cost small businesses time, money, and trust. Because better marketing does not always mean doing more. Sometimes it means getting clearer, moving faster, staying consistent, and giving customers a real reason to choose you. Matt, how are you?
I'm good.
Just to give a little background here, Matt and I talked before the podcast, a little pre-marketing, and we've come to a situation where we do 2 of these in a day, and it always used to just be him, and now I take one of the topics a lot of times and I introduce it, like the next episode will be mine, but he's like, all right, what do you got? And I go, all right, I got one. I like to just pull it on him and not tell him because he's a digital marketing professor, one of the first in America. And he should know everything, and he will when I bring my topic up in the next one. But my topic was going to be about marketing errors. And you come in and send me that last night and text me the outline, and I'm like, well, there's my topic, is making mistakes and making errors, and it applies directly to what I'm doing right now, and that we built a streaming video network for 6 years, and all we did is concentrated on market share, and the state of Indiana invested in us. We got a lot of people trusting us and a lot of sponsors, but we didn't really market. People came to us. Now I've left my other positions and now I'm just marketing, and I realize how much work it is, and I realize how badly and how many mistakes I've made over the years. And I wanted to go into that, and it's like you read my mind on this. How'd this come about?
You're talking to a professor and saying, well, I had the same idea. I didn't really do my homework, but no, that's what it sounds like to me. It's funny.
I did. Yeah. Yes. You know what? It does. It sounds like I'm making this up. It does.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but you already did it.
We need to say on this podcast that one of our producers is making a big step, and he has been working here, kind of getting dumped on at times and being told even on the air, hey, do this, do that. But our producer, Joe Cimino, is going to ESPN.
Congrats. It's a great job. Love it.
Is this what am I supposed to say something?
Sure.
I'm actually just, this is a little off topic for marketing, but they just added speed cameras on the highways to prevent more accidents in Connecticut. And I accidentally got my dad a warning. So
you were so excited to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the way to.
Oh, you got your dad a warning
because it was my dad's car on the way to the interview. So
you see, that's what I teach here, and how many people have gone on to because I teach him focus. Right here, we're like giving him kudos, and he's like, "Dude, my dad just got a warning."
Yeah, it was for on the way to the interview, but I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, this is gonna be a pain in the butt trying to get to work every day now. Like, you can't go like over 5 miles an hour without getting a ticket over there now.
So you've had to produce Matt Hansen. You're gonna go to ESPN with above average marketing knowledge.
Yeah,
because of what Hansen has to say on these podcasts.
I also do have a minor in marketing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
My first 2.5 years were I was a business management major, and then I switched.
Did you use that in the ESPN interview?
I mean, they were knowledgeable of it. I mean, I have a minor in Spanish as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that is showing that the liberal arts education and learning across multidiscipline approach works.
Yep. Actually, Bastasios was one of my references, so I really enjoyed his class. I'm trying to think about what the class was.
Was it a marketing class?
Yeah, it was. It was like it was
Probably the principles class.
yeah.
Principles of marketing.
Principles of marketing.
Yeah,
That's
so
exactly
it's
what it was.
basic marketing class that we teach.
Well, congratulations. I did not know you were taking a marketing background at Bristol. So do that, will you? And let's move on with this episode. I mean, I guess I am a bit slightly conflicted. I want them to go. I wanted all the other ones that went to Big Ten and Barstool and all that. I want them to go, and this is what they're supposed to do. ESPN picked him up a little quicker than I would. I mean, he's fully trained and ready to go, and we usually get 1.5 years, 2 years, and then they're like, hey, dude, I'm going somewhere else. But we got him now, and we're very happy for you, Joe. I think that you guys should remember this name, by the way, Joe Cimino. One day you're watching it, and there's this 28-year-old guy with floppy hair up there giving you the Sports Center, and you're like, dude, he was on WJOP in the podcast.
He's telling old football stories. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Hey, let's talk about some of the errors, and I've done every last one of these. Let's talk about knowing your level, your segment, your depth of your business, maybe trying to play it a little too more than it really is.
Yeah, I see people trying to play giants all the time.
Yep,
when they're actually
that's a good term.
Little minnows, right? People try to put out there that they are that they want to be way too big. And what they got to realize is maybe they're one team, maybe they're a team of 3, but they develop this persona online, or they develop this persona in their ads and all this other stuff, and make it out to be that they're this huge entity. And I would say 9 times out of 10, you're confusing your customers, because when your customers start to finally see who you are, there's a disconnect there. And I have a story that I worked with a client years ago that we sat down with them. We had a long conversation. They kept telling us, oh, I'm known back in my home state and I want to be known here. And I thought, okay, well, that's great. What do you mean by known? Oh, everybody knows who I am. Okay. So then we built this e-commerce website for her. And I kept asking the question, how are people going to find this? I feel like we're overdoing this. Your branding, your all of the printed materials that we were doing, the e-commerce side. I mean, the thing had like 400 SKUs on it. And I kept asking, how are you going to drive traffic to this? She kept saying, everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows who I am. They'll find me. So it lasted for about 3 months. She ended up, I think, declaring bankruptcy, and went home and is no longer doing what she set out to do. So obviously people didn't know who she was. People didn't even, when she went back home, didn't know who she was. But she had this assumption that everyone was going to follow her. Everyone was going to continue to buy things off of her and all this other stuff. So I guess there's 2 ways to look at this. You have those that think they're bigger than they are, and they try to put this role out there and it confuses their customers. Or there are people on the flip side that think, oh, well, the whole shop small, think small is going to save me. And that's another problem, which we're not touching on today. But size is always an issue with these companies, because they try to be something they're not. And I think from a business perspective, you have to look in the mirror every single day and understand who exactly you are, and put the authentic person out there in front of those customers or potential customers. And if you do that, people are going to see you and understand you. But if you try to be some grand scheme of some corporation, it's just not going to work. They're going to see right through it.
So I guess that's related to going out and saying, all right, how do I market myself? And try to market in a lot of different areas. Like, oh, you know what? We do installations. Oh, we do inspections. Oh, we do rehabs. Oh, we do new construction. I mean, I'm just talking about any, I guess, service-oriented business. And once again, this is Mastering Local Marketing Podcast 144. I say that because we are live on the radio, and sometimes people are driving around and we don't know what they're doing. But getting back to, there's a lot of companies. I have 100 companies that do stuff with us, and they're of all different sizes, but there's kind of a sweet spot of like 30 that are in the small to medium size sweet spot of where we do this podcast for. And I've seen some of them try, say, hey, we do everything. And I'm like, yeah, but really you do one thing really well. So why are you trying to promote that other one where you're making a bunch of money in this area and you're trying to grow, like, not organically, almost artificially, if that, you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I was just looking at a company that has roughly 90% of their business comes from one product, and they were trying to continually promote this other side. And why would you do that, right? 90%, put all of your effort into the thing that's driving revenue, that's driving really good profit margins, and forget about the thing that's taking up most of your time. It's so expensive to do. And we call this in marketing a shotgun approach, right? So a shotgun, when you shoot out a shotgun shell, it goes out in pellets and it kind of spreads, right? Whereas you have something like a rifle where it's just one bullet going straight and it doesn't deviate from where it's going.
We're in Indiana, in America. I know a number of people listening. We have a following in Australia and Ireland, and everybody in Indiana has shot a shotgun and a rifle, but we're explaining this for you in less gun-prone areas.
Yeah.
But all right, go ahead.
So when you have a shotgun and you shoot it out, it's literally bits and pieces of the shell, which is what you're shooting, and it goes out in a variety of different directions. Now, a shotgun shell and all of those little pebbles that go out, those BBs that go out, isn't going to do as much damage if it were to just stay together and do in one centralized location, like a normal rifle or something like that. And I'm not getting into guns today, but a shotgun approach for marketing is, I'm going to put a little bit of stuff over here on Facebook. I'm going to put a little bit of stuff over here on TikTok. I'm going to do a little paid search. I'm going to do a little local advertising in the newspaper. I'm going to do a little local radio, and I'm going to see what works. And really what's happening is you're just spreading it around, and you're not doing enough damage to get people to notice, right? You're not doing a disruption where people are going to start to see you. So the mistake that most people do is they do that. And instead of just saying, I'm going to focus in one area and I'm going to push really hard into that. So if it's Meta, it's Meta. If it's TikTok, it's TikTok. If it's paid search, it's paid search, whatever it may be. But if you do a really good job in one centralized location, you're going to disrupt those that need your services, your products. And I would say this should probably be number one, because I see this constantly. And when I start to ask people, what is it that works best for you? They always go back to one. And I go, well, why are you doing the others? Why don't you just increase the spend on the one, and then you can get more people coming in that way? And they're like, oh, well, I guess that does make sense, right? So it's an approach that I see. It's common. I would say 90% of businesses do it. And the companies that I'm dealing with that are hitting home runs understand that one or two platforms that they're doing, they're shooting rifles instead of shotguns.
By the way, I must mention, we do talk a lot about marketing. I think when we first started this, it was primarily just social media marketing, and there have been a number of ways that have risen, especially in terms of streaming and in terms of podcasting, that could kind of be thrown into that basket. But I agree with you. We have learned from these podcasts to narrow our focus, and it has helped in another area. We would sit down like, what are we going to do? How are we going to basically market ourselves? And then we would think about it. And then, we almost like, what do they call that? Paralysis by analysis. And we basically overthink it, a whole thing, and almost do nothing, because we're like, well, we've thought it all through and none of this is going to be a good ROI. And it's exactly the opposite of my general trading background at the Board of Trade. You just buy something or sell something and see if it works. And we've tried to think everything through before. Just sometimes you just got to try something, and that has not helped. Overthinking.
Yeah, it's funny. I've come to the realization that the best entrepreneurs out there don't ever think about what they're doing. They just go, right? And they figure it out as they go. I can probably count 20 on my hands right now of entrepreneurs that I know that I've been working with that just blow my mind how they just keep going. And I sit there, and even myself, I'm guilty of overthinking things, right? So I'm just like, oh, yeah, but I keep saying that as I look at these different businesses, as these different ideas. And many times we just need to just pull the trigger, just go, let's just do it. Let's see what happens, right? And it's one of the things that I try to instill in those that I work with is we need to just go. Things will happen. We're going to make mistakes, and we need to own those mistakes. But if we never get going, you're never going to know what's going to happen. And one of those things that I see often is people overthink. We talk a lot about email on here, right? People overthink, oh, well, how do I get emails? Well, what am I going to put out there? What am I going to send them? And then I always ask them, I'm like, hey, have you started collecting emails at all? Well, no, we got to get all this in place. I go, so you get it all in place and you figure out what you're going to send them, but then you have no emails to send them. I'm like, well, yeah. And I said, well, what's the point in that? I said, let's just put something out there that people are going to start
sending. You'll get better at it.
You'll get better. Yeah. I mean, I've watched people that have built their lists. They throw a lead magnet out there and they build their list, and they have no idea what they're going to send these people yet beyond that lead magnet. But by the time they're ready to start sending, they've got 10,000 emails sitting in their database and they're ready to go. So you start doing the math on that, and it's like, okay, well, if you're selling product online, shoot, you might be selling $2,000, $3,000 on that first email if you get it right. But we overthink every single thing, and sometimes you just gotta go. I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna see how bad I'm gonna fail at this.
I'm gonna give you an analogy from a different craft. For 20 years, basically, I stood in the pits of the Board of Trade, and I was I came out of the options, which is complete analysis on deltas, thetas, gammas, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm trading futures. And I'm standing there, and this old timer, which probably was 45 years old, said, you're not in the game till you're in the game. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're just kind of standing there, and I know you were a good trader in the options. Now you're over here. If you buy or sell, even if it's only a 5 or 10 lot, which is kind of small, you'll know what the value is just because you've spent money to buy that, and oh, I want more of this, or I want less of this, or I want a different month or a different commodity, whatever it might be. That market now because you're in it. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens with your marketing. If you're going to buy Facebook ads, if you're going to buy local radio ads, if you're going to send out direct mail, if you're going to attend chamber meetings, you're going to know what the return on those is just by being involved in it.
Right.
And so you're not in the game till you're in the game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's so many things that I have jumped into through the years that I had no clue what I was doing, right? Like my first e-commerce brand that I launched, I had no idea, no clue what I was doing. And I figured it out as I went. I made huge mistakes, and I had huge gains as well. From a marketing standpoint, honestly, just go out there and try it. We call it a Hansonism at the university.
Of course you do.
What's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, yeah, so you're going to burn through $1,000 learning. I mean, I'm sure you burned through more than that going to school, right? So let's be honest, that's where we are at this time.
So you have to balance this, right? You got to be in the game to be in the game. But if something starts to work or doesn't work as fast as you want it, and you're bouncing around and you're in all sorts of different games, all of a sudden you don't have any focus and you're inconsistent. So there is a balance between just get in the game, do something, and I'll try this, I'll go there, and you don't really have a strategy even after you've tested things.
Yeah, the inconsistency is probably the worst thing that you can do, right? So we call this random acts of marketing. And a lot of people will say, all right, well, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start posting content on Instagram for the next 2 weeks. And they do that. And then they go, wow, that's not working. Let's try some Facebook ads. I'm going to, I hear this all the time. I'm going to boost some posts. And I can't stand when I hear that because I want to sit them down and kind of walk them through the whole tools that Facebook has. But we're going to boost some posts. Oh, that didn't work. We're gonna buy a newspaper ad. Oh, that didn't work. And it's all of these that didn't work, right? Without really asking the question, well, why didn't it work? Because posting on Instagram works for a lot of people. Posting ads on Facebook works for a lot of people. Putting an ad in a newspaper or a local radio, it works for a lot of people. So have you broken down the system to really understand what is not working, or are you just looking for the next shiny object that's out there? Because quite honestly, that's what you're doing. You're just going, I'm not willing to put in the time to do this or to learn it or to learn from others that are doing it well to implement it into my business. I'm just going to try a bunch of things and not actually learn anything, right? So think of it in terms of if you went to college and you went into every single I went to biology and I took the first class. I learned it. I don't need to know any more about it. I'm going to go be a doctor tomorrow. I took a biology class. I should be good at this, right? Like, that's a horrible thought. That's what we do in marketing. We jump from ship to ship to ship. And really what you need to do is you need to pick one, you need to focus, you need to learn as much as you possibly can because it is working for other businesses that are just like you. You're just not putting in the time for it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, take some time, learn a lot about it. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 16 months, I think, at this point. And I knew nothing about podcasting. I still know nothing about podcasting. I'm still learning from a lot of people. Then why are you
teaching it?
I got my evaluations on it, by the way. Perfect. Best class they ever took, but we'll go back to that later. But
so you're telling us publicly on the air when administrators are driving around listening and people can download this podcast that you're teaching podcasting, but you feel like you know nothing about podcasting. I'm missing that.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I am a intermediate podcaster at this point. I'm not somebody that is, the Joe Rogans of the world. Let's be honest, right? So
I'm going to take the other side of that.
All right.
We went to the podcast conference, went around and talked to all these people. Well, you and I studied podcasting and SEO and what kind of podcasts might click and what this podcast should be about. And that's how you've gotten a niche audience in a lot of different areas. But you are going to minimize your own abilities in podcasting. I want to extrapolate that to the small and medium business owner who minimizes their abilities to understand their market.
I guess let me take that back. What I'm saying is there are tiers to something, right? So let's take it back to Facebook, right? So if you're running Facebook ads, that you can boost posts, right? A lot of people will do that. That's kind of like an entry level Facebook advertising approach. You can get into Ads Manager and start to do ads that way and selecting audiences and kind of building custom audiences and all that. That's a little bit more advanced, but that's still intermediate, right? Then there are those that are testing 40, 50 different ads every single time they launch something and trying to figure out with A/B and multivariate testing and all this other stuff. That's really advanced. So I think what I'm saying with the podcast side is we were entry 16 months ago. Today we're intermediate, but I still know the things that I need to learn to take it to that next level that we're not doing right now, which is why I'm still learning it. Even after 16 months, last night I spent 2 hours looking up a bunch of stuff that I'm curious about because I want to take things to the next level on all of this. But that's where people get lost. They stop at a level and they're just like, okay, well, I'm entry level. I boosted some posts. They didn't work. Well, have you got into Ads Manager? Do you have the, are you doing tracking? Are you testing multiple audiences, multiple ads? Are you doing all of the things that high-end people are doing in this world? No, it's because you just haven't taken the time to learn it. But there's a lot of people out there, I don't have the time. I get that. But just do as much as you possibly can, but don't abandon something just because it became hard after 2 weeks.
Well, it does get hard. And one of the things, and I know where you're going to go with this, I was just hanging out at Purdue over here one day. I don't know, maybe it was a number of years ago before he was massive, but he was still pretty big at the time. And I'm sitting there doing my homework. I got an MBA kind of later in life, probably doing Matt Hansen's homework for his digital marketing classes. And I go, what are all those people in there for? They go, oh, Simon Sinek is coming. And I go, that's Simon Sinek? He's going to talk here? Walked in there and started listening. God, I know I've listened to his stuff, and it was kind of before podcasting was huge, but he was already doing it. And it was one of the more motivational moments of my career. And when he started talking about what is your why, because your why will hold together all these things. Yeah, you get to a certain level, you don't know what to do. Go back to your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you learning this? How does why bring all this together?
You can ask that question, what is your why, to most small businesses, and they'll say some kind of random, well, I produce, or I do gutters. Okay. But why? Why do you do gutters? What drove you to do gutters? What is it? The customers? Is it you? Is there a story? What is it? Right. And, I look at something like the podcast here and why we do Mastering Local Marketing. And, mastering comes from the educational side. I, was in charge of the MBA program for a little bit, but, mastering local marketing is something that you can do, but the local small and medium-sized businesses many times don't have that resource that they can hire, go out and do. So I wanted to give them something of value. So I'm bringing back Fortune 500 advice. I'm bringing back small and medium-sized businesses that I've worked with on the agency side. I'm bringing in the academic side, but I'm giving it to all of you for free every single week because nobody is on your side doing it. That is my why for this podcast, because nobody is doing that for you. You have to go out there and pay for all of these things. And I said, there is a gap here that we need to fill. Now, flip that to your business and say, why do you do what you do? If you're a florist, you install gutters, you are a plumber, you sell home decor, like
life insurance.
Why do you do that? Why do you care, right? Like my insurance agent just retired, and I hate to see her go, and you ask, well, why do I hate to see her go? Because if I needed an answer, I would text her and she would have an answer back to me within 5 minutes. The new person, I have no idea if that's going to happen, but I knew she was on my side, and she would actually, she worked for one of the larger insurance companies, but she had her own practice, and she would tell me, she was honest with me. There was none of that, that stuff like, oh, well, I'm sticking by corporate. She would tell me all of these things. So it was the honesty, the integrity of her, the insurance that she was providing. And she was always on my side. Even if there was an issue, I felt like she was with me. So that's her why. You've heard my why, but now let me ask the question to all those people that are listening. What is your why, and why do you do what you do? And you've got to put that into your marketing.
5 small business marketing mistakes, episode 144, playing a giant when you're really small. The shotgun versus the rifle approach, overthinking everything, and then random acts of marketing, and you lack consistency. But always come back to your why. It's there. You'll find it. You're a small to medium-sized business. You've lasted. You're in business. Your passion's behind it. Remind yourself of that from time to time. Matt Hansen, thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Cimino, thank you.
We've still got him for a few more.
We got him for a few more. And I'm Jim Diedlow. We're coming at you from Hammond, Indiana. Until next time, see you later.